Hello there, Sakura Flutters. We are ready to start. Oh, I forgot to fix that. It's a weird little thing that happens now and then these days. I updated some things recently, so we're just gonna go that, and then that, and that just fixes it. So I don't know why, but at least it isn't broken forever, right? Now, it is of course Porcore music. They're the one, the only, the greatest. And as you might assume from the title of the stream, doing some programming. I'm gonna turn my headphones down a little. The music is great, but it can get a little distracting when I'm trying to work. So, big changes. You'll notice this file is much shorter. You can actually almost, well, all this is going to be changed too. But you'll notice the big change. Runedict is now empty. It used to be a huge thing. And now we have something else huge. It's this JSON folder. It has all these JSON files in them now. And they're very simple for now. If I go to like 1.json, it's like this, you know? And then for combinations, it goes like this. This is going to be, I hope, revolutionary for my process. Because right now, it works exactly the same as it did before, right? Go bing, 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 ball bing, bing. You see how it is. Except now they're not combined anymore. And that's what we need to fix. But before we get there, we aren't technically done refactoring. Did my thing help? No. So, it was my dad's suggestion to use JSON files that helped. I did my best with the parsing, but the thing is, it just wasn't the right way to go about it to begin with, you know? I'm gonna have to make a parser later for the actual language part, but for combining the runes, these JSON files are going to be way more effective, because look at this, right? This way, we can actually already define the components separately, and the operation, so it's basically already tokenized just as the JSON object, you know? So we don't have to parse this part, and that makes it much easier. What I'm gonna do next is basically just go to A through V and add these things to it, you know? Hello, Sakura Flutters. Yeah, very fun. I've been meaning to remake this emote. I don't know if people like it or not, but I really hope I could do better. Maybe it just needs new shading. It's a bit flat for me. But yeah, that is the goal. I say like it wasn't useful for me. Yeah. Understandable. And it would be a little bit annoying to open all these in here to edit them. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to use Visual Studio Code. Oh, we've actually already got Visual Studio Code open. Lucky me, because I was doing it before, like this. What I'd like to do would be to possibly... No, that's not a thing here. But I could possibly just like shrink this down about half. Darn. Let me see if I can go... like this. I'm a little bit shocked. Well, not really shocked that it goes like this. Okay, let's see about like this, perhaps. I was working on my Minecraft data pack I haven't touched in 70. Oh, 70 was about to be like, how long is 70 months? Hang on. Like 6 years. Goodness. 7 months is a lot more normal, I think. So we're looking for who. Alright. All of those are 500, 500. That'll be fine. Making Splatoon in Minecraft? Goodness, that's cool. But yeah, basically what we're doing right now is just going to be going to all of these and adding another property called... What do we want to call this? Already playtest complete? Wowie. Atlas board. And we don't need to do this for all of them, just these, I don't know, 22 or whatever. Which will still take a while. But it mattereth not. And this part's always going to be 500, 500. So all we need to do is, define this as 0, 0. Does that work? So you can do that. For a while, I was forgetting whether you could use these brackets to make a list in JSON. Very good to know. So Atlas core is that. And then... check out what IDM you want, feel free to show off. Okay, I'll see. Wing! They've made a new emote for their channel, it seems. That's pretty fun. I like that. Big fan. Let's see. So this is going to be a little bit trickier, I think. This is going to be the shape yeah, this will just take a while, you know? That's what most of the stream is going to be, just data entry. People get paid for this kind of thing, so. Zero minus 80. There should be 12 points, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we're just gonna... So there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Minus 20, minus 40. Minus 40, 0. Negative 60 to 40. Negative 78 to 78. And yeah, I did enter all of these by hand as well, the first time around. I'm not the smartest. Could have found a way to do it automatically. But I didn't. But the point is going to be so that these two dictionaries are obsolete. And then I can just have one dictionary with everything I will ever need. And it will all be in these objects. And it will be so nice. So pleasant. And it maybe will be worse. Because I don't know anything. But we just done the 78s. Then we're doing negative 40, 78. And then 0, 78. Then 40, 78. And then 78 and 78. And then 60 and 40. And then it looks like 40 and 0. And then 40 and 0. And last but not least is 20 and negative 40. There we go. Thumbs up. So that should be everything that the letter A needs. Or, I mean, the letter who, I guess. It's a bit complicated, but that should be it. So, going to separate it so I know I can delete it later. And then we go to the next one. The next one is we. Right? Yes. I'm gonna start by copying this, just because it's easier. The atlas chord will be 2000. 0, and then I'm pretty sure it's just the exact same shape. Yeah, it's just the exact same shape, so that's very convenient. That's pretty nice to me. We like to see that. So then we can put a little hashtag there to show we are able to delete it. Then we go over to what? You'll be fine. I'm still gonna copy just because it's easier than trying to put in everything all the time. Atlas chord, we already did get the correct one there, yeah? Okay, we can close those because we know they're correct. This one's 500 and 0. I did make it pretty horizontal for the time being. In the future, I'm probably just going to expand it downwards. For those who are curious, I believe it's this one. Yeah, goodness, that's not a great way of looking at it, but we'll just click this, I suppose. I will open it. Bing. My, so this was the default one that the operating system had, this image magic thing. It's kind of terrible, and I don't like it. But could get the job done right now. I don't like how it's squishing the thing. But yeah, these are all the shapes currently. I feel like I should have just, like, see how there's these 2 different triangles? These 3 different triangles, even. I feel like I should have just made those all the same thing, and then used my little edits to change how it looks. But it is what it is, and that's not what we're changing right now. We're doing a different tedious and annoying process, you know? Oh, thank you, Grace. You have a good idea? What is it? Tell me. I really should have expected that. Alright, let's head over there right now. You're so silly. It has been a minute. It has been a minute. Okay. Oh wait, hang on, I picked up 2 weights. I think we need... No, wait, it's 15 pounds, so... You'll be back later. Enjoy this class of programming. Alright, you too. I mean, you have fun with whatever you're doing is what I mean. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, and 50. It's been perhaps a bit too long. Those really took it out of me. Excuse me. I'm still getting over that cough. Anyhow, back to our boring JSON. Let me catch my breath a second. Alrighty. Here, we're at what? Got 500 0. So that's done. Then here, let me see if it's at all economical to just copy here, paste here, and delete where needed. It might be a good idea. So, as we do this, I really encourage y'all to think of some fun things to talk to me about, because this is going to be a pretty boring task. Like I said, it's just data entry. So any questions you can think of to get a story going would be great. Because, oh boy, we're in this for the long haul. Or I mean, at least the next 2 hours. Alright, there we go. That is much faster than before, though. So that's nice. Now let's see. There's what. So next up is when. Alright. And that'll be, we'll copy. When it's going to be 9,500. Alright. And we're going to take this, put it there. I'm gonna pop all these in. It is a little bit important. Is that really just... Goodness. I copied a lot of these values from the print statement that I was using when I set them. What I did was I went in... I don't know if I streamed it or not, but what I did was I went into my little editor. I set the positions myself, and then looked at the values they printed, and just entered those, so that I would do those. So that was my strategy there. Don't know if it was a good one or not, but it is what it is. Oops. Let me just actually do all of this first. Then I'll just go in and add in the brackets after. Alright, because that'll make it much easier. I have a really cool job, by the way. It was a good day today at work. I got to talk about this project I'm working on. And this one kid, I work with kids, by the way. This one kid who's usually pretty disinterested seemed interested in it, which made it very nice. And my coworker, who's sort of the superior there, they were also impressed. They think I'm smart. I was quite pleased with the general reactions to me talking about it. I got to show them my little book as well, which was fun. We're gonna look at this one now. And that one is gonna be where. Conveniently right after here. Then I do need to just copy this again. Comma there. That is 3,000. And then we just go yoink and put them in there. Oops. No reason not to just make it 54, you know, it doesn't have to be that precise. My calculus 2 class, oh boy, it's hard. Slope fields are really interesting. I like them. I think they're super cool. The only issue is that I'm a little bit lost at sometimes. Sometimes I'm just not quite sure what I'm doing. I think derivatives and things in general are super awesome. I've been wondering whether or not I'm going to want to take a physics class, because on the one hand physics would be so cool to know, and I'd be able to apply a lot of these maths. But on the other hand, I'm not super interested in the practicality of it. I like the theory mostly. Anyhow, that's that. I'm just gonna simplify things a little. I just boink. Boink. You might be wondering, is it a good idea to test things before you get rid of these? The answer is yes. However, we're not doing that. We're just going. Mostly because I'm lazy. Wait a second. This one's at 3000, 0. Not 300. Did this one get the right one? Don't know why it's changed to this. It looks like JSON just automatically converts them to floats. It's kind of weird, but alright. We're working on where right now, aren't we? Oh, that's this one. It's 3000. Shape is really show. Anyhow, we should be good to delete this now. And we're looking at Y. We need to copy all this first. And this one is going to be 1000, it looks like. And we also need that comma there. Big sip of water. So that's 1000, and I'm just getting rid of it now to save me time. Then over here we can go like so. It is very important that these numbers are in the proper order. However, hopefully it won't mess things up too much if I accidentally do something wrong. I'm kidding, because I know it will if I do something wrong. It also should be very difficult to do it wrong at this point. It is very much just copying and pasting. So, unless I do, like, delete a number for some reason, it would be very hard to debug this, by the way. That's part of the downside, is that it is not going to be easy to debug. Which is why it's just going to work perfectly on the first try, and I'm never going to have to change it. So let's see, we've just done these ones on Y. We can get rid of that there. Going through all the letters A through V it takes time. Which is why I wish it did not. Next up is how. That's up here somewhere, because these are just alphabetical. Bada bing, bada boom. That's at 1500. And then get all of these. I'm gonna need to save one of these aside so I know what they look like, to make sure I don't, like, completely forget how to do the thing. So we'll just have to remember to do that. Which I might as well do that now. Really. Well, I mean, as soon as I finish this. Look at all these 0.001s. So silly of them. I know it's because exact numbers are hard for them. Wouldn't it be so silly if there was some error resulting from doing it like this that made it so I have to go into all of these files and add that one back in? That would be quite ridiculous, and I'm really hoping it is not the case. I'm tired today. I even had a coffee at work. I started work at 3:45 today, and had a coffee because, I mean, I was falling asleep on the bus, and I did not want to be, you know, falling asleep during work when I'm supposed to be interacting with people. So, that is why I decided to have a coffee. I don't have caffeine or coffee way too often, just now and then, if I feel like it's necessary. Which isn't really that often. Usually I can manage. I just wanted to make sure I was fully awake for work, because, you know, that's how work be sometimes. Yeah, that's 1500, 0. I'm gonna save these. And that way, I'll have an example of how to format them when I'm done. So that was F. Now we're at G, which is going to be for the booleans. Bool. It's a funny Beyblade reference. That's 3,500. I don't know why I made this. I mean, I know why I made this texture so big. It's so that I could scale it and stuff without it looking bad. But I'm hoping that doesn't cause performance issues at any point. I would really, really love for this to be a decently performing game, you know? It won't be for ages, I bet. But my end goal is for this to be performing well, you know? Like, first priority is functional. Second priority is what's the word? Functional. Then immediately after that is performance is my priority. Because, like, I'd like people who have all sorts of different computers to be able to play this game. You know, I don't want it to be one of those high-end only people games. Those are annoying, actually. I might see about figuring out a way for people to choose quality, you know? Because really, all these things, they're just... Well, I mean, the biggest impact on storage size is going to be space. Alright, not space. The impact on storage space is going to be audio. Because audio is a really spacious kind of thing to store. So making sure, like, it's not like I'm going to be able to invent a new audio algorithm that perfectly stores audio without, like, being massive, you know? Because compressions cause losses, pretty much, by necessity. So, the more you compress something, the worse it'll sound. Then, like, I want it to sound good, but I don't want it to, like, be 50 gigabytes or anything like that. There's the bools. We can get rid of the bools. Yes. And we did make sure it's 3,500 0. Yeah. We're going to H, which is possessive. Meow. Bing. Cool. So we're gonna copy and paste. Possessive is gonna be 10,500. And then it's gonna be all this. Bing, bing. feel like it's too warm up here. Tempted to open a window. But on the other hand, it's too cold outside. How dare. Mean to me. No. I can only hope that this all works. Because really there's no way of knowing for certain. I imagine once I have these as a data type, as a variant, because when you parse a JSON in Godot, it becomes the variant data type, which is pretty sure unique to Godot, and that's just like, can be any data type really, so it's their generic basically. But I'm pretty sure if it does it properly, it'll parse these in the curly braces as a dictionary, then these as lists, which should mean I'll be able to say Atlas chord 0 and 1 are the new points there and there for the vector 2. That should be pretty easy, right? It should be a very simple function to write, and then I'll be able to have that. It is just a matter of actually doing that, and I can't do that until I have these things stored in the JSON files. And I want them stored like this, because obviously JSON doesn't have vector 2. So just having pairs of numbers, it'll be the best we can do. So that's possessive done. Go ahead and delete it. It would be so awful if it turned out that we needed one of these again. I would probably just give up, honestly. See, look. It just automatically turns them into floats. When did that even happen? When is this? When do they have time? Yeah, we've deleted H down there, and we will delete H up here as well. Now it is I, which is going to be our anti-possessive. Awesome possum. Now, that does make it a teensy bit more annoying to look at. It makes it long. What right do you have to make it long? That's mean to me, you know. And how anti-possessive is at... Oh, it's also at 10. No? Yes. Oh, that's right, because they're the same, aren't they? They're the exact same, aren't they? Negative 79, 35, 16, 11. Yeah, so these actually should be exactly the same. Because the last one, yeah, 44, 16, 31, 30. So I'm chill just deleting this and hoping for the best. See, this is part of why it's always been the tiniest bit silly to have all these things, is because some of these are just the same, you know? Storing them in a JSON at the very least makes it more sense that they'd be unique, you know? Instead of just being like the same value. I mean, it obviously made sense to begin with, because in a dictionary, key value pairs, the value can always be the same, but they could have unique keys. But don't matter none. We are moving on. Comparison time. You are like you. And then you... Do I even need to copy anything new? I don't. AFE for me. That's J, and we're at 100. Yes. Then $100. Then we will go here to J. So like so. Comparison, yes indeedy. Bing, 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 wait, bing, 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 and bing. It does not need to be that ridiculous float. It can be normal. And I don't mean like a normalized vector, by the way. Normalized vectors are interesting though. I don't remember exactly how it was, but it's basically like making the, like, if the range is from 0 to 100, it'd be compacting it down to be between 0 and 1. You know, it's basically like taking a vector and making it normal. And the normal is the word you use for when it is unit. A single unit, I think. I really don't know. However, it does not matter. Also, I really want to program things. This isn't really programming, so it's not tickling the brain right now. It is just boring data entry. But I'm trying my best to talk through it, so it is less boring, because it is always less boring when you are entertaining yourself by talking. I have a little bit of a headache right now. Might be because I'm tired. Probably it's because I'm tired. Anyhow, that's been J. And next is K. But we're not kidding. Wait, did I just delete K? I did. Don't do that yet. K is gonna be the superlative. Everybody loves the superlative. Right? They're the most fun. See, it's funny because most is a superlative. So here, copy all of this. Click. Is comparison the same there? Hang on. Yeah, okay, comparison is at 100. K, however, ain't. In the olden days, people might have said ain't a word and you ain't supposed to say it. However, they are sharply wrong. I think it's a neat word. Let's see. Oh, another thing I wanted to mention. My YouTube channel analytics. One neat thing is that it's been a little while since we hit like a day with 0 views. Lowest it's gotten in the past month or so is 1 or 2. And that's kind of exciting, I think. Because it's sort of like a sign that it's quote unquote taking off. Like if the numbers stop hitting 0, then it'll hopefully continue getting bigger. If it doesn't, that's fine, but it'd be cool if it did. I'd like to do more YouTube stuff, but YouTube's kinda hard to get into. I was supposed to do another Minecraft video this week. The issue is I did not have time yesterday, which is like my main recording day. And I stream pretty much every other day of the week. I might not get the chance unless I like record on like Thursday or something, or another day where I can skip stream and then edit with the little time I have left after that. I don't think it'll work out, but like we'll have to see, huh? Anyhow, that should be the evaluation. Right, N, wait, that's N, not superlative. Okay, we'll be back to this one. Wait, hang on, we can actually Let's not be too hasty. Let's control X that. And we'll leave that as an error so we remember to come back to it. We're looking for superlative. How did I miss superlative? It's an S word. Bing. Silly me. That's our K. How does one even mistake like that? Goodness. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Sorry, the roof of my mouth is itching a little and it's awful. We just did superlative, which is K. And then we're looking at L. And L, as everyone knows, is degree. And degree is up here, degree. And then bing, bing. Comma. And then the location is 4000, bing, bing, bing. And then the coordinates is at degree. Code. Have to add sound effects, or I might go insane. Just so y'all know. Go boop, 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 oh, bing, and bling. Beep. I mean, it doesn't actually matter. I can go bing, bing. Can make that a nice number. I remember it took a decent amount of fiddling to get these packed vector 2 arrays to work. Because at first, how was I supposed to know it was supposed to be a packed vector 2 array? It took a combination of testing and reading the documentation to figure out the way it was supposed to look. And then I just copied numbers. Some of them I copied. A couple I had to enter by hand. And then once I copied them, I normalized them a little bit. And by normalized, I don't mean the fancy sense. I just mean that I looked at them and basically truncated them to a nice number. Sometimes I increased one to make it one I'd seen before. I gotta blow my nose real quick, so I will... Oh darn, we don't have tissues up here anymore. That is tragic. I'm gonna use a wet one, if we have those still. Trash here also needs to get taken out tonight, and that lid fell. Goodness. Hit. Good thing there's more than one trash up here. Alrighty. There we go. Didn't mean to kick the desk there. What was I up to? Is this the right... Yeah, that should be the right shape. We can go bing... Well... Weep? Okay. Ding. Meep. Bing. 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 And bring. Ooh, yeah. That should be L completed. I sure hope this works, by the way, because I am not really in the mood to go and put everything back. You know? Would actually be the worst. I want to clear that, because the number bothers me. There we are. I just did L, we're looking at M now. And, I mean, M is obviously an intuitively frequency. Frequency and degree do often go together, I kind of could have guessed that. We will go weep. Shoop. Up. Pink. Wait. Bink. Bink. Should close some of these. We'll leave evaluation open because we're gonna need it. It is, as they say, a secret surprise tool that will help us later. Frequency is not 2500, no, it's more dastardly 4500. Then, M. Get rid of, well, you don't need to get rid of those. Just go voim. Up. Voim. Like, the problem with me sometimes is that rather than just using my brain and finding a good solution to problems, I see that there's a possible solution, and because I don't want to get stuck somewhere, I just do that solution. And so, for example, with these, there might be a better solution than entering everything by hand here. But the thing is, this works, and it's guaranteed to work, and I don't have to go find an answer. So I will just throw myself at it until it's broken, and I win. Which doesn't work all the time. So that is a tricky. We're gonna hope that it's fine, though. Like, for example, these hard-coded numbers, magic numbers. They're not a good thing to have in your code, really. There should be a reason for them, or at least like a variable somewhere set for them. Something along those lines, but on the other hand, like, there's no explanation for these numbers because they're arbitrary to begin with, to just sort of loosely define the shape. I mean, they're not technically arbitrary, but there's no way I could give them a variable name that would explain why they're the value that they're the value of, you know? It's just arbitrary forever. And they're going to have to stay numbers in the JSON, because that's how they're going to be put into these later on. So there is nothing I can do about it that I know of. I kind of always have to add that I know of, because there's a lot I don't know of. So there's M done. Oops. There we go. Oh, see? It's when I save over here, it just goes rim. It's quite odd. Also, I misspelled evaluation. Evaluation, not evaluation. Evaluation. However you'd say that. Ridiculous. Not what I meant. And speaking of N, actually is evaluation, so that's kind of a funny coincidence that I noticed that just now. We're gonna copy all this. Bing. We're gonna paste all this. Alright, evaluation like so. Evaluation like blink, blink. A lot more of these numbers are messy. Probably means this is about the time I gave up and just started copying them. You know? Wait. Oh, wait, never mind. When I was like, wait, have I been deleting numbers I needed? The answer is no. I have not. And I also need to get rid of these when I can. Yes, indeed. Now, then. My water is getting quite low. It's a good thing there's a break soon. But boy, oh boy. All the talking tires me out a little bit tonight. I'm gonna get an ibuprofen while I'm downstairs, I think. Because, oh boy. Headache is headaching. Did I get the proper thing here? No, I did not. It's 7,500, not 4,500. How ridiculous of me. It should be pretty easy to see if we got the atlas chord correct, because the shape will be correct, you know? If two things have the same shape that shouldn't, then we'll know we got something wrong, right? And there's all those, so we will bing, bing. Technically, I could have it just be one massive list of numbers and count by twos, but like, why do that when I could do this and guarantee that I'm right by just going 4 item in here, 0, 1. Super shrimple. So there's evaluation done. Pop, pop, pop. Next up is action, one of our favorites. Oh, it's up here. Action. Copy all that. And thus, bing bong bing, 6,500. And go like so. Yes. Bing, 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 and bing. Look at these tiny modifications. I had fully given up by this point. I'm just like, whatever is close enough. We round up in this house. That was a 6? Yeah, now it's a 7. I sure hope this doesn't ruin everything, but knowing my life, it's uncertain. Might as well round there as well. Then we can start the very slow process of... I feel like if that's how the rest of them are, this is gonna take a lot longer. There's unfortunate. But like, these differences really shouldn't matter, you know? So it should be fine that I'm making the numbers small, or at least less long. Kinda strange that a big number and a long number aren't necessarily the same thing. I mean, unless you're doing like 1 to the power of, or I guess 2 to the power of a billion or something. Then it's both long and big. But that is not the case for all numbers, because you could have like 0.000 as long as you'd like in a 1, then it's very small. And I don't know, I feel like that's a possible interesting thing to look at. in terms of math patterns. The 1372. Yeah, that's close. So that means I've just done action. Action's actually a physics term. I'll watch a very awesome Veritasium video on it. Basically, things move through space in a way that minimizes action. And the way that that works is really interesting, and I don't think I fully understood it, but it's very awesome. Also, I don't think I mentioned enough how awesome it is that Grace has been subscribed for 10 months, almost a year. I feel like we need to throw them a subscriber birthday party or something. But really, it'd just be a fun little celebration. I should start planning that, actually. That'd be very fun. Because Grace is the only one who's done that for me. That I know of, that I can think of. I can check, I think. Alright? Because the last person to renew a sub, I actually think they're the only one. Maybe. So I know Grace is currently subscribed. Grace gifted some subscriptions recently. I can't scroll down far enough in the activity feed to see more. But there's another person. There should be like one more person currently subscribed. I'm curious of who that was because I'm forgetful. I think it was, hang on, I've got to check. That would have been most recent one I drew here. It's tricky. None of them really stand out as being new. So that's on me, I guess, for not remembering better. But it's okay. We were here, we just did action, we deleted action just fine. Which means next is linking. Linking is going to be kind of interesting. Some cases you'll use a linking. Right? Other cases, you will not. And it's kind of ambiguous as to why. I need to formalize that grammar. Because generally, in between symbols, you will have a linking, right? That is how it works, usually. There's exceptions to every rule in every language, and this is one of the exceptions in mine. There's an exception could be like if you're going into a nested block, or I guess I call them improper nested. So, nesting is when you have, like, here, let me, it's this one. Hang on. Nesting is when you have, like, hang on, triangle inside of circle. That's regular nesting. And then improper nesting would be like this, circle, bracket, triangle. I call it improper, but it's technically a proper way of doing it. But both are technically valid notation. It's just that, for example, if I have like triangle overlapping circle, overlapping square, hexagon, whatever, it'd be kind of weird to draw a huge circle around that. So instead of doing the nest notation, which is just a dot, no, nest notation actually always is improper. No. Right, so nesting notation is this, but improper nesting notation is this. In my code, that is. Right? This one goes there, and then this one goes there. And then that's how I parse that. And then how do I... there? Yeah, so just like that. I'm pretty sure you guys are able to see when I draw on the screen like that. I might have to double check that. Also, it's an hour and I need my break. I need to refill on water. Be right back. I'm back and very refreshed actually. It was good to get up, walk around a bit. Probably should have done more actual stretching, but I can do a tiny bit in my chair. Now, first question. Did we just do action? We did just do action. We're looking for linking, which is an L. Linking. Cool. Be awesome. I'll copy from here. Bing to Bing. And that is a 7,000. And then all this goes here. And then we go bing ba bing. Okie dokie. Four. And then 2. Oh, missed the dot. Okie dokie. And then 8. And then 47. And 51. And 13. Cool, and then last but not least, all this. All right. Indeed. One thing I've played with is the ability of the player to basically take a picture of a rune they've made and just save it as like essentially a hotkey to a certain rune. What I'm a little bit concerned about for that is that it would essentially be difficult. And I don't know how. I'm not gonna. This one is P, and we've just done it. Got our 7,000, we've got our numberinos. And get rid of us. Wow, and we can get rid of us. Then we're on to Q, which is past tense. Bing. 50 more squats? Alright, great. I guess the last one was an hour though, goodness. Time sure flies when you talk all the time. And I have to talk all the time because there's not much else going on. I'm gonna be so real. We're gonna go and do, that is the wrong screen, is this one we're after. I really should make a different screen for this. That would be more visually interesting. I will, that is certainly a art stream in the making. Because I think it was suggested before that we use like a little gym layout, kinda. And I think that's a wonderful idea. What am I doing? I clicked around on stuff and then it was ultimately pointless. I was completely distracted and fully thinking of the start of the stream process I do where I go full body, face only. This, that. But this is what we want this time. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, and 50. There we are. Now then, back to programming. Wah. Okay. Now, catching my breath. Then we can go here. Just copy this. 5,000. Click. Collect. Move. How's that type? What a fun book that was. Excuse me. I've been getting over that cough for a couple days. I hope it goes away sooner than later. It's just lingering after that cold. So annoying. Now we just go through all these and just round up where we can. $101.158. Wowie. That might be the biggest one. $47, $79, and $94. Then you just go through all these. Oh, this one actually rounds up to 77. This one rounds up to 60. That's pretty neat. 47. And jump 16. Cool. So there's past tense should be done. Alright. Yeah, 5,000. Only a couple more left. There's Q done. Go to R, which is going to be manner. That's a good one. Always a fan of manner. This one is going to be at 6,000 instead of 7,000. Did I change this? I did, at 5,000. Good, as it should be. Then, so that's at 6,000. And down here we've got all these numberinos. And we just separate them. Gotta keep them separated, like that one song. Squat count. I forgot to start the bot, but it started now. And we've done 100 today, because Grace is back. Can you believe? And that's with those 15 pounds. Wow, yeah. It's been a second since we did a good amount of squats. I'm a tiny bit sweaty. But today is pretty boring, so I don't have to worry about being overexerted. We're just doing some data entry, pretty much. We're changing all these numbers into the JSON files. JSON files, how you say them. And once I've done that, then I'll be able to not have huge lists in this file. Huge dictionaries, huge lists. I'll just have one dictionary loaded automatically from these files. There is a lot of files, unfortunately, but that's just gonna be how it is, you know? They're very small. There's not a whole lot in them. There's like this much in each one. So it's not a huge sacrifice. But it's allowed to have all the file, or all the data instead of just a little. So that's good. Oh, I completely forgot about these, huh? Got one more to go through after all that. Wish we had a fan or something to cool off with. That was just now manner, so we can get rid of that one. And we can get rid of manner down here as well. Next up is S, which is place. A very good one. Bing. And then up here we can just go ahead and copy all this. Comma, bing. Place is at 5,500. And here is its numberinos. Wait a second. I forgot to put these around that. I hope this is the only one that's happened for. I'm pretty confident it is, but now I'm not sure. Actually, we're gonna find out, because I have to go through all of them again for the next set of values. So there is no need to... I forgot it for this one too, goodness, but I'm pretty sure those are the only ones. We're gonna have to go through them all again anyway, because there's another set of values to enter. Luckily, it shouldn't be hard. I mean, none of this is hard, it's just tedious work, you know? Probably why I'm glad to be able to stream it, because otherwise I would put it off and maybe never do it, and then the project would just be dead. Did we get ourselves these ones? We're doing place right now. I did not get that. Okay. And let's go bing. Bing, 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 and also bing. Whoops, bing, bing. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. So very shrimple. Apparently these are all aligned to an edge. Which makes a lot of sense because it's a square. It's just fun being able to see that in the code. I'm also glad that the rounding isn't affecting that much. It might make things off by a little. I don't care. If we want precision, we wouldn't be using 12 points for a circle, you know? We like precision, but it is not our main goal. Whoopsies. We are not getting rid of values, we are simply rounding them. I mean, it gets rid of some values, I suppose. If it rounds to 0, for example. Let's see. That should be it, yeah? That should be placed on, it was at 55, wasn't it? Yeah. So that is 55. Hundo. And all the numbos. Bing bing. Awesome, let's close a couple. Just so that we have space. Frequency also. It's so silly that wait. Oh darn. Does this work? It does, okay. But I forgot that I need to put them into lists. That's on me. It's gonna make things a little bit ugly. I saved because I thought, hey look guys, it's silly how it adds a .0. It is silly that it adds a .0. Technically they're supposed to be floats anyways, so the data type isn't really changed here. If I save here again, does it make it look nice? Wait. It does. That's kind of silly. Then past tense is done. Place we just did, I think. Right? Yeah, 55. I got the 92. All those fun things. And then next is T. Which, I mean, it's so intuitive for that to be present tense, of course. I'm just being silly because it is not intuitive. And the system isn't meant to be intuitive. Because this isn't client side. You know, this isn't something people are ever going to see. This is just stuff people are going to have running in the background, doing all their calculations for them. However, for me, I've got to find where I left present tense. It's somewhere around here. Present tense. Yes. Phenomena. We will unfortunately have to go here or something. Did that copy it proper? Did not. Sad. There we are. And we will delete these just because I can't see things otherwise. And then the atlas coordinate of present tense is going to be 8,000. And the packed vector array is going to be... Oh, excuse me. We're gonna go blah, blah, blah. Whoopsie. That's fine. Blah, 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 and blah. Okie dokie. Now, beep. Hang on. Yeah, there. I figured it. .001. How ridiculous. Bing. Like, for a lot of these, it's just been a lot of manual labor, you know, setting all these values. There just probably was an easy way the whole time. And I'm gonna probably be so sad if I ever find out what the easy way was. Because I'm not doing it the easy way, and I will be like, wow, that is so much time I wasted. I guess it's not wasted because I'm spending it. But you know how it is. Now let's see. That should be everything for here, right? We got our 8,000, we got our numberinos. So present tense should be completed. We've only got 2 left before we get to do the last set of values. Awesome. All the extra daily, yeah. Yeah. I know what that's about. And as we all know, U is the ID for connection. Connection's an interesting case because it's an example of me, essentially just like making a, what's the word? A compromise with the code. Because when I created this to begin with, connection was not one that you'd be able to see in the, you know, code in this manner. It was one that you'd have to combine runes to make. So like it would be one with operations performed on it. But because they weren't operations I was planning on including in, they weren't operations I was going to have in the game, you know? Because I figured I need to limit the number of operations that are possible for simplicity, essentially. Because imagine if I had a billion things you could do. There already is a whole lot of things you can do for these. And I figured it's for the best that I limit it, you know? Make it so that it does not ruin everything. And so connection, it would normally be a comparison plus possessive, right? Doing their pointy thing, like an ice cream cone. Comparison and possessive pointing at another comparison and possessive pointing at each other. So it'd be like, you know, mutual ownership, essentially, was the idea going into it. It didn't work. I mean, it still is that. It still looks that way. It's just that it's its own thing now, rather than a thing you combine to create. You can tell by the fact that it is one thing instead of 4 things. And there's probably going to be more cases like that in the future. Oh, this is 9,000 and 0. And this is... It's just a shame that, you know, had to end up that way. But it's for the best. Because it would never have been... Like, no one would have found out without being told explicitly that that's a thing you can do. I mean, the whole point of this game is that people are gonna be told explicitly how to do everything. I mean, it's not the point of the game, but it's like a major component. Because it's not intuitive at all. It's somewhat logical, yeah, but it's not at all intuitive. You'd never guess these things, you know? So, all we can do is our best. I did do the... Yeah, okay, I did. Sometimes I'm just second guessing myself now on whether or not I made them into lists. It ended. Oh no. Restart that. We don't want to listen to another one. Now then, that is going to... Oh, my headphones disconnected. How odd. We're going to reconnect those. And I have to turn them off and back on again. Okay, hang on. Gonna have to cycle the power on my Bluetooth system, it seems. And now it works. I powered on again, and it said it had 10% more battery than it said a second ago. I see your lies. Now then, let's see. We were over here. Oh, that's right. I was gonna refresh this page because it's buffering, it seems, infinitely. So we're gonna have to just click right. Yes, indeed. So that'll be that. And then we will continue our processes. Yes. Hopefully I didn't accidentally flip negative to positive on any of these. Let me see. So we've had 12 values on each of these. And A through V, 26 letters in the alphabet. T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. So that's 4 missing. And then there's also the we block. So there'd be 3 missing. So there'd be 23 by 12 of these values that we've entered. Let's go see what that is. 276. Decently large number. Then that was connection. Alright. Cool, yeah. And that's at 9,000. Perfect. Last one is proper. Awesome. Proper is down from here. Uh-huh. Go comma dama ding. And the last is 85 hundo. Then we'll grab all this. Click. Now, I don't think you're able to add comments in JavaScript. Or I mean in JSON objects. You're able to in JavaScript proper, but not in JavaScript object notation. Which means we might have a bit of a problem when we're wanting to put comments in, because we can't. Now, I'm curious as to what I did. Yeep. We need that. So I'm curious as to what I did the first time around. When I was going through and putting these values, not these, well, yes, these values, not into the machine, but into the, like, when it was being ran. I'm curious how I got these values to be used. I'm wondering if it was a for loop on the known runes list, specifically. Because I'm hoping, because I'm not setting a picture, but I'm hoping to set macros, essentially, that allow people to just shortcut to runes or rune combinations they use frequently. So, we'll have to see. It would be get texture here. Well, I guess it just, I guess you just run it on an individual thing. That makes sense. But it'll be fine because, you know, you get the thing. Thing, you know? Mm-hmm. And then we were up here. At proper, we... Actually, did we just do that? We have a 5401. I mean, 5401 is gone, but it's now 5434, and that's second to last. So that's proper then. Quite literally. So we'll make these into lists. Uh-huh. Alright. That's good to have gotten done. And now I actually will just be deleting these. Then here is so over here. So instead of draggable shape data for an ID, draggable shape data, that'd be the use shape vertex chords, right? So instead we will go rune dict at location rune ID, right? With property shape vertex chords. Alright. And then get shape. Hang on, where is get shape used? I'm gonna want to figure this out first before I do the next step. I assume it's in here, right? Yeah, get shape. So you can't set the shape yet. And so we're gonna actually have it do this ourselves. Right? And then we're gonna have it return the new thing. And then var chords list equals that. So this should be a list of lists, right? So if I say for chords in chords list, so each item chords should be like XY essentially. And then we'll say var vector list equals empty. We will say vector list dot append. Alright? And then we will say a list here. So in here it's actually a list of vectors, which is actually perfect because that means we need to do 0 work. We just need to append them all to a list and then pass that into the packed vector to array. Lovely. Dot append vector 2 of chords 0 and chords of 1. Then pack vector 2 array of vector list. Perfect. That should have 0 issues ever. And if it does, it is mean to me, and it should cease that activity immediately. You know? Then, this, I don't even know if I need this, but I'm going to keep it around as a reference. And then, let's see. So I'm going to set a constant up here. Do we have constants? Size vector equals vector 2, 500, 500. How's that? How's that apples? Good. Everyone's a fan of that. So instead, previously it would have given us this, a rect with vector 2 and vector 2. Right? So now, instead, we will say equals rune ID with data named Atlas coord region data will be this, because that'll be both 0 and 1, or x and y. And we will say var region equals, hang on, rect 2, right? Constructed by region data of 0, region data of 1, then texture size vector, or I guess we might as well, because I'm looking at this constructor here, or something along those lines. Down here, I used 2 vector 2s, so I might as well actually just use vector 2s, you know? Vector 2 like so. You should stop having problems. There's already a variable named region, but it's useless to me. Alright. Yes. Click. So this should be equivalent. Like, everything should work flawlessly on the first try without any issues at all. I mean, it really just seems like it has done the thing I told it to do. And it does seem like it works flawlessly. That's good. That means we copied everything perfectly. The copy and paste tool tends to do that. I should, however, do my do's and scroll through this a little bit. If anything's wrong. No, this all looks correct. Like, if I drag this here, that's got the lines on it. So that's good. Eventually, I'm going to want to see about a way of stopping this from, like, I want it to not overflow up that way. I want it to hide when it does that. And I know there's a way of doing that. I just don't know how. That's on me to find out eventually. However, we've got one more of these to go through. And it is going to be annoying. Pretty much. Oh boy. This actually just kind of sucks. This actually just kind of sucks. Who made this? This is terribly designed. Here it works, I guess. But gosh. I'm gonna look at who first. Instead of adding one item, I'm adding like one for each of these basically, because they're all completely separate. You know? In fact, what I'll do is I will add extra, and this will be another like that, but we'll have these things. I'm gonna do it weirdly for now, so I can copy and paste them. str cross UR cross. We'll just say dr rot UR rot. Not you in chat, of course. You're not rot. And then size X, the Y is assumed to be fixed for some reason. So pause, like so. I'm gonna make a new file, temp.txt, in which I will copy this to here. That way, I can just have this for reference. And it will cause no problems. Dr equals -33. We're just rounding, by the way. I've decided. No, actually, this one is a little more important for it to be a tiny bit precise. 33.3675. These ones. Okay, those three I might as well add in as that, because they're always going to be little things like so. So the UR is -38.36 and 146.835. Then oh, there's one thing I've been meaning to do a while. I'm gonna get to it in a second. Dr rot -45 and 45. Size X is 100. And the position is gonna be 59 negative 69. Fun. And oh boy, this is gonna be exhausting. At the very least, we get to copy this. It is precisely the same over at we. Right? We can bam, kill them. I'm gonna double check. Can you add comments to a JSON? The answer is no. Okay. You could add just like another parameter called comment, and then it would be understood to just be a comment, but not gonna do that because I don't want to. Instead, we're gonna leave this in here, and I'm just going to, well, I mean, actually, comments are less needed now because these are actually named what they are. That's good. Oh. Yeah, okay, so we did those correctly. Excuse me. Then we go to what? Wherein we can just go like this. -45. -45. 100. 98, -92. Coolio. Then when we got what? We're looking at when next. Let me clear this. It's in my way. Then these are both at 90 as well. This is when, yeah. 150, so it's longer. Oh, I remember now. I was a little confused for a second. Oh boy. We're at the 2-hour mark. Goodness. I do need a break, I suppose. My water isn't as empty this time. But, gosh. 87.39, so we did do that. I will be right back. I'm back. I'm hopefully not going to stream way too much longer. However, it is all up to chance, I suppose. Bing, bing. $150. 87, negative 39. Oh, needs a comma there. Oh yeah. So that's where finished. And why? As I said so, that's why. The reason these ones are more precise is because they're smaller. You know, small changes here. They're also parented to the larger object. The point is that just like smaller changes here are more noticeable. So that is why I prefer to leave the precision. And negative 92, all correct. Luckily this is much easier to edit, especially with my little template. That's our Y. So we've just done. And how is next. All the way up here. And we've got where Bobby Bob where negative 45 there. When you see 45, negative 45, you know it's in an X shape, which is pretty neat. But that's 100, and the double position is at 80, negative 69. Also, hang on, it's just like something that bothers me a tiny bit that I would just really love to fix right now. Oh, hello, thank you for the follow. I'm opening this up really quickly because I just want to go here, 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 I believe. I think it's this one. No. Yeah. I want to see if I'm able to just, like, erase this little line here. It's bothered me for a little while now. You know? All that should be fine. Now, let me see if that works. It will take a second. I don't think I'm going to be able to run this. But, like, if I put that in, finally, we've got it so that there isn't an extra line on that. I'm glad that that was so painless, you know? I was worried it was going to be very annoying. Bleh. A little random shiver that people get sometimes. There was how finished. Right? Got the 100, got the 80, negative 69. Coolio. Boppy boppy bop. And pretty much this whole string, for Evelyn Yuki, who's just followed, this whole string has just been refactoring. Because previously, everything, all the data for all my things was in a couple JSON objects. And so, no, it was in a couple dictionaries, and I've moved them to JSON objects, which is why we have so many of them now. And it's much easier, hopefully, you know? At the very least, it'll all be in one place for each thing, so that'll be nice. Yeah, we've just finished house. We're looking at pool. These basic ones here, which go from A through V, the basic ones, they will have a little bit of extra data than the more complex ones. But it is nice to not have to go through all the complex ones. And that was bool, it said? It is. The process is pretty simple. You just copy over the numbers. -45, -45, 100, and 101, -92. The hardest part has been keeping myself entertained while I do this, if I'm being so honest. Because this is not entertaining. I haven't even had much to think about, you know, not many thoughts in my head. Possessive is next, coolio. I've been doing my best to fill a silence, but oh boy, has it been boring. I mean, it's not that boring. I'm at least engaged, I guess you would say. Because, like, you know how it is. It's a boring task, but it's at the very least... here we're doing 90, 90, and then... 150, yes. 150, and then -76, -31. Coolio. There's possessive. Then anti-possessive is almost the exact same. Except... it's not. I am going to start by copying this, so even though it is not the exact same. We go anti-possessive. We did just do the possessive, right? Right, so we can get rid of that. So there's possessive, there's anti-possessive. The difference here is that the cross buttons are in... they're not buttons, but the little things are in different spots. Ow. And they are just pretty much in mirror positions of each other. Around the center, because they're just two. I think it looks nice. It's arguable if that's accurate. But that's all I need to change on there, which is nice. Then we look at the comparison. Figures. Then compare, we get sum of that, sum of that, and we have a 0, a -90. I'm not quite certain what -90 does versus just 90. Don't know why it needs to be negative. But you know, I wrote it, so it's probably fair enough. And it's not like it's going to be making a huge difference. And 39 goes there. Well, yeah, that's comparison done. Copy that again. At this point, I would have just written a converter, but to each their own. Well, I mean, like... the thing is, I feel like... a converter would probably be fine, but like, this is... I don't know. It would work, certainly, but I feel like it might be more effort you know, figuring out how to get to parse these. I mean, it wouldn't be that much effort, I guess. But I'd have to... I'm already too deep in. Sunk cost fallacy. Because we only have this much left, right? So I feel like it's worth it to just keep going at this point. Plus, converter, like, yeah. We've just done comparison, right? And that's what I just deleted. Yes. So I've deleted compare, which is here. Then we have superlative. Superlative's a good one. Yes, indeed. It is a good one, in fact. Here we go. Yeah, the more I think about it, making a converter was definitely the right move. I just, you know, didn't think of it. Then 87 minus 9. But you know, it gives me a whole stream. We've been doing this for the last 2 hours. But I never claimed to be smart. So you'll never prove me wrong on that, at least. Because I never said it. Superlative is done. We can get rid of it. Then L is degree. And then cool, yeah. Get rid of that parenthesis. I guess just paren. 45, negative 45, 100, 86, negative 80. You're smart, I'm sure. Silly as well. Yeah, that's absolutely certain. Is I'm definitely silly. Smart is debatable. I'm failing calculus 2. Calculus 1 was good. Calculus 2 is hard. And, oh boy. I hear calculus 3 is easier, because you get to do multivariable derivatives. Well, I mean, you get to do partial derivatives and multivariable integrals. But I am not succeeding in Calc 2 at the moment. It's hard. I said that part already, but it's emphasizing it. Degree. I do recommend it, though. I do think that everyone should at least try to learn calculus, because it's kind of really cool. Then we got 45, negative 45, 100, 86, negative 83. Oh, forgot a comma there. There's frequency done. And evaluation. Cool, yeah. Apparently this one just never fixed itself up, huh? It's kind of silly. We will go bing, bing, bing. Because the JSONs, they've been expanding themselves and adding these as floats automatically, like this basically, when I save over here. And I guess evaluation just missed the memo. I would be too dumb to take calc. I forget what I'm doing while I'm doing it. Well, you know, you'd learn, you know, especially if you had the teacher I had. Or, I mean, either of the teachers really, because I audited it essentially once. 0 and 90, okay. Because I audited it once, went through it basically just without actually getting a grade on it, and then I took it. Both teachers were pretty cool. The second one was a lot more strict, but still a good teacher. The first one was like the coolest guy ever. Super smart, super, like, just really, he's what you think of when you think of a cool mathematician, basically. And me having ADHD makes learning worse. Can't focus on one specific thing for longer than 5 minutes. It's rough. I get it. I have autism, and on the one hand, that sometimes makes learning things easier because I'm able to focus on them for a while if they're interesting to me. But on the other hand, if it's not interesting to me, I'm just going to forget. And I suppose that's similar with ADHD. What was I up to? I just did evaluation. Did I? 87, 74. Those look correct. Bing. Okie dokie. Strange. The other one's expanded when I did that. Either way. Regardless. We're moving on to action. Action is a cool one. I said that before as well. Where did it go? Huh? Am I blind? Ah, no, it's just up a little further. Copy. Paste. My current calculus teacher in Calc 2, different from either of the first two. They're a really interesting person. 45, negative 45. The problem is that, like, there's not enough homework, essentially, which is wild to say. But the thing is, there's nothing to pad the grade between tests, and the tests are really hard. So doing homework is absolutely essential, but I'm busy, like I have a part-time job, I have a couple other classes, so I'm busy, so I don't have, like, time, or at least I don't mentally feel like I have time to be doing homework that isn't required, right? And so there's nothing to pad the grade between tests, and they're really hard tests, and I don't do the homework because it's not assigned, and that's why I'm failing. It's not that the concepts don't make sense to me, I can follow along in class just fine. It's just when I get to the test, I'm like, all of a sudden, I realize I don't know what I'm doing. Because I haven't practiced enough, and I haven't memorized the formulas and such. It's a vicious cycle. Oh, we're looking at linking next. Bing. Bing ba bing ba bing ba bing. Uh-huh. So here's linking. We go like so. Bing. Whoops. Then 45, negative 45. $100 and 86, negative 83. Okie dokie. Negative 83. Awesome possum. Then, after linking, we've done linking. We can get rid of it. Look how close we are. It all fits on one section now. You can see it all at once. That's everything. Neato. It's called past tense, right? There we are. copy, paste. Paste. Copy, paste. And it looks like it's 0.9150. And then usual 86, negative 83. Really? Technically I could have just like set some standards and not had these be variable. But I want them to be so that I could make them change if I need to. And I feel like that's not a bad thing. It's just like probably pointless at the end of the day. And if I need to optimize things, I might just rip out some of this. But it's fine. I'm very used to doing a lot of effort for very little result. Manner. For a second I thought that was all zeros, and I'm like, that's something else. That shouldn't be what that says. But we can now go bing, bing, bing. Copy, paste. Alright. -45, -45, 100. Bing, bing, bong, bing, bong, bing. Then typical 86, -83. Poppy, poppy. That should be mannered done. I'm probably gonna leave the last one for a little bit, just in case I need the order for some reason. Actually, no, I'm not, because I will not. I'll leave these comments. Next up is place. Bing. Bing. Bing bong. Okay. Yes. Did I already thank you for the follow? Probably. 45, -45. I've just been distracted because I'm working on this, and it is like, it requires bare minimum brain effort. You did awesome, because you deserve it. Thank you. Although, let me double check, because 406. That's right, because of Harley Alice from 4 days ago. I actually am a little bit curious. So obviously when you get to 404, you have to make your not found joke. So I'm curious about what a 406 error is. Not acceptable? Interesting. Pretty much for the next, like, who knows how long, I'll just be thinking about different possible error codes that my follower count could relate to. Just because it's silly. Silly fun. So that should be everything for place. Then after that is present tense. Bing. Bing. Yeah, not acceptable code or something like that. Pretty silly. Pretty fun. Then we have 0 and 90. $150. And then we have 74, -87. It also just looks better sometimes for them to have these custom things, you know? It's not needed at all, but maybe it's nice. A connection up here. Bing. That ain't it. Okay, I did do present tense, so I can get rid of it. Then we've got connection. Oh wait, hang on, we got a 3. That last 3 is not important, but for the sake of tradition. And it looks like we've got 90 and 90. 2 parallel lines. $150, and then we've got 87 and negative 70. That has a parenthesis in it, and it shouldn't. And then that's connection done. And the last one is proper. I remember that. Coolio. And then I just need to refactor things so that it uses this value instead of this value. Cool. That won't take long. Especially because this is just really easy to use, you know? I'm a teensy little bit annoyed that it doesn't work exactly the way I'd like it to if I were making it a 90, 90, 150. Because in my ideal world, you access JSON properties with a dot, right? It would be 875 negative 73. Because you'd go like JSON dot property, right? But you can't do that here because Godot loads JSON objects annoyingly, or at least annoying to me, because instead you have to go JSON of property because Godot treats it like a dictionary, which I mean kind of makes, I mean not kind of, it just makes sense because of the way it is. Right, this is exactly syntax for a dictionary. It even has the curly braces. But I mean, to me, I would just prefer using a dot for that. And then I could just say, I mean, it makes no difference really. I just prefer using a dot because I like thinking of it as an object and an object of its own rather than a dictionary that I can access properties of like so. It really doesn't matter at all, but I think about it sometimes. Now, what does that change? That is change the extras. I guess that might be in here then. Here, set extras. That would be that. Got extra rune data. Alright, which no longer exists. So instead, we say, we'll say rune dict at rune data. No, not rune data. Rune ID of extras. Alright. We should be able to put away VS Code for now. And then over in set extras, we just need 2. So this isn't quite needed anymore. I don't know if this has it. I'll just comment it out, and then I'll delete it once I'm certain I don't need it. It's no longer a thing like that, you know? Now the data will be a dictionary, actually. So it will be data of... I actually did want that open. Actually, I can just pop open action, I suppose. Huh? What? That's not correct. Oh, this better not be ruining my life today. Okay, good. It did save, it just hadn't reloaded for some reason. Anyways, what we want is just the way this looks. Cross underscore dr. Alright. And this would not... And dr here is 2, so it's a vector 2 that I'm making. So we'll say... And that'll be of 0. And of 1. Like so. Then the rotation... Hang on. Oh, the rotation. Yeah, okay. So then we'll want to see DRI is 45. But it doesn't matter what it is. All we need is to say drrot. Yes. And size.x is just called size underscore x. Okay. So this will be pretty easy. Size underscore x, like so. Then UR is going to be the same, but just like with UR instead of it's UR instead of DR. And I should actually just copy this. Make my life easy. And then... Bing. Oh, bing. And then this one is going to be another vector 2, actually. Isn't it? Yeah. And it's dope. Awesome! So that should be like everything we need to do, actually. You know? That should be literally all. Let's find out. No. Wait, hang on. Extra. Extras. It's not plural. Awesome. Can combine them and stuff like normal. They do everything they're supposed to do. Yep. Now I can also do this, it just doesn't save the combination. Or the rotation. The rotation, it would be nice if it saved that. But I don't think I want to right now. That's not the point. Anyways, we did everything I came to do today. Everything is now in the JSON files, which is nice. The next step is going to be wherever I left that file. It may be here or here, I think. Yeah, it's not regex anymore. It's not. What it's going to be now is basically I'm going to have to say for it to go through the JSON and combine them in the ways that it specifies. It'll be fine. Yeah. And then... that's not for today. If I get too distracted, I might never go to bed, and I am tired. It has been a long day. So, thanks for visiting. We're gonna raid out. I don't know most of the people who are on at this time of day. I'm gonna be honest. I feel like I've heard of them before. Chicken jockey, they say. Ramen Dash is always a good option. Is Sally still on? Yes! Amazing! We raid into Sally then. They're, as you can see, they're back. They took a little hiatus because things got really busy for them. And they're great. They're a friend of mine. And goodbye.